Listen to great knowledge in minutes.
Welcome to Saarika AI. Host Arjun, a thoughtful literary critic, guides listeners through literature. He is joined by guest Nandita, an avid reader and sharp critic who unpacks books with depth. Today, they explore Ajneya's landmark Hindi novel, Nadi Ke Dweep. Visit sarika.ai for more insights.
Nandita, it's truly a pleasure to discuss Sachidanand Hirananda Vatsyayan Ajneya's landmark novel, Nadi Ke Dweep. It's such a pivotal work in modern Hindi literature, isn't it?
Absolutely, Arjun. Nadi Ke Dweep is not just a novel, it's an experience. It truly pioneered a new sensibility in Hindi literature, moving beyond traditional narratives to delve deep into the human psyche and existential questions.
And it does so with such a unique structure. The multi-narrator approach, exploring the lives of Bhuvan, Rekha, Gauri, and Chandramadhav, really allows for a nuanced understanding of their inner worlds. How do you see this structure contributing to the novel's core themes?
That's an excellent point. The multi-narrator structure is fundamental because it directly mirrors the novel's exploration of fragmented identities. Each character offers a distinct lens, preventing a singular, authoritative viewpoint and forcing the reader to piece together their own understanding of truth and relationships.
It certainly creates a sense of ambiguity, reflecting the character's own uncertainties. Bhuvan, for instance, seems to be at the very core of this existential struggle. Can you elaborate on his role and his internal conflicts?
Bhuvan is the quintessential introspective character. He's constantly wrestling with deep-seated insecurities and a profound emotional detachment. He intellectualizes everything, often as a defense mechanism, which makes his search for authentic meaning incredibly challenging.
And his romantic entanglements, particularly with Rekha and Gauri, seem to be a direct manifestation of this struggle with vulnerability.
Absolutely. His relationships are less about connection and more about projection and self-discovery, or often self-deception. He grapples with intimacy, constantly oscillating between a desire for closeness and a fear of being truly seen.
Rekha, in contrast, appears to be a very strong, independent voice. How does she challenge Bhuvan's intellectualized distance?
Rekha is the intellectual equal, but she is also emotionally astute. She critiques his detachment, his tendency to live in his head rather than his heart. She asserts her own need for independent creative fulfillment, which is a powerful statement in itself, especially for a woman in that era.
So, she's not just a romantic interest, she's an intellectual and emotional foil, pushing him to confront his own limitations.
Precisely. She represents a path towards self-actualization that is both intellectual and deeply personal, which Bhuvan finds both alluring and terrifying.
And then we have Gauri, who offers yet another dimension to Bhuvan's emotional landscape. She seems to represent a more traditional yearning for stability.
Gauri is the antithesis of Rekha in many ways. She embodies a more conventional, devoted desire for familial belonging and stability. She seeks a rootedness that Bhuvan, with his floating, island-like existence, struggles to provide or even comprehend fully.
So Bhuvan is essentially caught between these two very different expressions of love and connection, mirroring his own internal fragmentation.
Exactly. They highlight his inability to commit fully, not because he's a villain, but because he's so deeply insecure and unsure of his own identity. He's an island, as the metaphor suggests, struggling to bridge the waters to other islands.
Let's bring in Chandramadhav, the fourth major character. He is described as a rational anchor with a scientific perspective. How does his presence influence the emotional and existential drama unfolding around the others?
Chandramadhav is fascinating because he offers a counterpoint of logic and objectivity. His scientific mind seeks patterns and explanations, often challenging the emotional turmoil and introspective angst of Bhuvan and Rekha with a more pragmatic, grounded view.
Does his rationality offer a solution, or simply another perspective on the inherent human condition that Ajneya is exploring?
It's definitely the latter. He doesn't offer easy answers, but rather, he highlights the diversity of human experience. Even with a scientific, rational approach, the fundamental questions of identity and connection remain complex and often unresolved.
This brings us perfectly to the central metaphor of the novel, Nadi Ke Dweep, the river islands. It's such a powerful image. how does it encapsulate the novel's themes?
The river island metaphor is the heart of the novel. The river symbolizes the flow of life, time, society, and relationships, constantly moving and changing. The islands then are the individuals, distinct, separate, shaped by the currents but ultimately isolated.
So, it speaks to that existential alienation, the struggle to truly connect despite being surrounded by others.
Precisely. It's a profound visual representation of how individuals exist in a fragmented world, constantly seeking bridges but often remaining distinct. The water that connects them also keeps them apart,
That's so
defining their
insightful.
boundaries.
And this fragmentation, this search for identity, is set against the backdrop of post-independence India. How significant is that historical context to the novel's themes?
It's inseparable from the themes. Post-independence, India was grappling with its own identity, moving from colonial rule to self-governance. There was a sense of newness, but also immense uncertainty and a break from established norms.
So, the characters' personal struggles mirror the national psyche in a way?
Exactly. The existential alienation felt by the characters reflects a broader societal shift, a questioning of traditional values, a search for modern identity, and the challenges of forging new connections in a rapidly evolving landscape. Ajneya captured that zeitgeist brilliantly.
It's truly remarkable how he managed to weave such intricate psychological portraits with such a significant socio-political context without making it feel overtly political. It's subtle yet profound.
That's the mark of a master storyteller. He understood that the personal is political and the universal is often found in the specific. Nadi Ke Dweep remains incredibly relevant because its exploration of identity and connection transcends its immediate setting.
It really does. That idea of transcending its immediate setting is key to its enduring power. What do you think makes its exploration of identity and connection so universally resonant, even for readers today who might not be familiar with post-independence India?
Well, the core human experience of searching is timeless, isn't it? Whether it's for meaning, belonging, or even just understanding oneself. The character's internal struggles, Bhuvan's existential angst, Rekha's quest for creative independence, Gauri's desire for stability, these are fundamental human
Absolutely.
dilemmas.
And the novel's central metaphor, Nadi Ke Dweep, the river and the islands, is so powerful in conveying that. How does Ajneya use this imagery to deepen the themes of isolation and connection?
The river is life itself, constantly flowing, ever-changing. The islands are the individuals, seemingly separate, yet formed and sustained by the very river that surrounds them. They are distinct entities, but their existence is intrinsically linked to the flow and force of the river.
So the islands are independent but also vulnerable to the river's currents, reflecting the character's autonomy and their susceptibility to external influences and the currents of their own emotions?
Precisely. And it's not just about isolation. It's about how these islands, these individuals, exist in proximity. They are part of the same river system, influencing each other, sometimes eroding, sometimes building up. It beautifully illustrates the paradox of human relationships. We are distinct, yet deeply interconnected.
That's a brilliant way to put it. And the multi-narrator structure further enhances this, doesn't it? By allowing us into the minds of Bhuvan, Rekha, Gauri and Chandramadhav, we get these different island perspectives.
It's critical. Each character offers a unique lens, often challenging or contradicting another's perception of events or even their own self-image. This creates a really rich, layered understanding of their motivations and vulnerabilities.
It's like Ajneya is saying there's no single truth or reality, but rather a mosaic of individual experiences that form the whole. Bhuvan's internal monologues, for example, are so revealing of his intellectualized distance.
Absolutely. Bhuvan is often the intellectual core, but his introspection is also his prison. He's so caught up in analyzing emotions that he struggles to actually feel them, to engage authentically. His detachment is a
modern
defense
problem too.
mechanism.
And Rekha in many ways serves as his foil, doesn't she? She challenges that intellectualized distance, pushing for a more genuine connection while also asserting her own independence.
She does. Rekha represents a different kind of modern woman for her time, one who values her creative fulfillment and intellectual equality. She's not content to merely exist as an adjunct to Bhuvan's world. She demands her own space, her own voice.
which contrasts so sharply with Gauri's character, who seems to yearn for a more traditional sense of belonging and familial stability.
Gauri embodies that desire for rootedness, for a conventional domestic life. Her devotion, her search for a secure place, highlights the tension between traditional expectations and the emerging individualistic desires of the era. She's seeking an island
A
that
safe
feels
island.
permanent.
And then there's Chandra Madhav, the scientist, who brings a completely different, more rational perspective to the emotional turmoil around him.
He's the observer, the logical anchor. His scientific worldview often clashes with the emotional and philosophical struggles of the others, providing a grounding, albeit sometimes detached, commentary. He tries to apply a framework to chaos.
It's a masterful ensemble, really. What do you think is the novel's most profound message or its most significant contribution to Hindi literature?
Its most profound message, I think, is the recognition of human complexity and the inherent solitude within even the most intimate connections. It's a call to self-awareness, to understand our own island nature while acknowledging the river that connects us.
And its contribution? It feels like it really pushed the boundaries of what Hindi literature could achieve in terms of psychological depth and philosophical inquiry.
Absolutely. It was a pioneering work in its psychological realism and its existential concerns. It moved beyond simpler narratives, embracing ambiguity and the inner lives of its characters in a way that was quite
Truly
revolutionary for its time.
Are there any particular moments or passages that stand out to you, Nandita, that really encapsulate this brilliance or the essence of the novel?
There's a scene where Bhuvan reflects on the nature of love, not as possession but as a recognition of the other's complete freedom and distinctness. It's a moment of profound, almost painful, self-awareness that truly captures his struggle with attachment.
That's so powerful, especially given the romantic entanglements throughout the book. It elevates the concept of love beyond mere infatuation.
It does. It speaks to a more mature, if challenging, understanding of human connection. It's about allowing the other island to exist in its own right, even if it means you can't always reach it.
And that's a lesson that resonates, I think, across cultures and generations. It's a complex novel, certainly, but one that rewards deep engagement.
It absolutely does. It's not a light read, but it's an incredibly enriching one. Ajneya's prose, his philosophical depth, and his characterizations make it a work that stays with you long after you've finished the last page.
For listeners who might be intimidated by such a nuanced and layered work, but are eager to grasp its essence, what would you say is the best way to approach it?
I'd say approach it with an open mind, ready to engage with its philosophical questions rather than just its plot. Allow yourself to ponder the characters' internal worlds. It's a journey into the human psyche.
A journey well worth taking. Nandita, this has been an incredibly insightful discussion into Nadi Ke Dweep. Thank you so much for shedding light on such a seminal work.
My pleasure, Arjun. It's a novel that deserves all the attention it gets, and for those looking for quick insights into great books like this, Saarika AI Books in 10 minutes at https://saarika.ai/ offers excellent summaries.